Case File 001. LV General. The full timeline. You've probably seen the headlines, you've probably seen the clips, and by now, you've almost certainly seen the opinions. But before the internet reaches its verdict, let's rewind the timeline. Who is LV General? How did one of the UK's most recognisable online personalities become one of its biggest headlines? This isn't about deciding guilt. It isn't about defending. And it isn't about condemning anyone either. It's about separating facts from speculation and understanding how we got here. This is Real Talk Uncovered. File 1. Who is LV General? Before there were courtrooms, there was YouTube. Before the headlines, there was a young content creator trying to build an audience. LV General, whose real name is Augustine Mitchell, first became known through the online platform Word on the Curb. Although he had been actively building his online personalities for years prior, this moment would mark his first break into a wider audience. Working alongside creators including Very V Brown, Big Zoo, Chance, and most notably, his on-screen and real-life friend, Young Philly, LV became part of a new wave of UK online personalities, changing what digital media looked like. To many people, this was simply the beginning of a promising media career. Few could have predicted where the timeline would eventually lead. File 2. The rise. As the platform continued to grow, so did the opportunities. Bigger interviews, bigger audiences, bigger brands. But success doesn't always move at the same speed for everyone. While Young Philly's profile expanded into mainstream television, music, football, and national entertainment, LV continued building his own path through online media, comedy and interviews. The internet naturally compared the two. Whether those comparisons were fair or not, they became part of the public conversation. File 3. Separate paths. Eventually, the pair moved in different directions professionally. Fans naturally began asking questions. Had they fallen out? Were their careers simply taking different paths? Publicly, there has never been one clear explanation that answered every question. What is clear is that both creators continued pursuing their own careers independently. LV remained active through interviews, podcasts, comedy, content, social media appearances, and continuing to build his own audience outside of Word on the Curb. Case Note 4. The 2025 case. As details of the current case began making headlines, another document also started circulating widely across social media. The document appears to relate to an earlier case involving Augustine Mitchell and indicates he pleaded guilty to 2 counts of sexual assault, receiving a community order and a financial penalty. At the time this episode was produced, Real Talk Uncovered has not independently verified the authenticity of this document through official court records. However, because it has become part of the wider public discussion surrounding the current case, it's important to acknowledge its existence, whilst also being clear about what has and has not been independently confirmed. Case Note 5. The current case. Fast forward to today. LV General now faces a separate criminal case that has attracted national attention. According to publicly reported court proceedings, Augustine Mitchell has been charged alongside Marcel Johnson in connection with allegations relating to an incident reported to have taken place in an address in Lewisham. The charges are serious. Mitchell was remanded into custody. Johnson was granted bail. At the plea and trial preparation hearing, Mitchell entered a plea of not guilty. Johnson too entered a plea of not guilty. The court listed the matter for trial beginning on October 2026. As with every criminal trial, the prosecution must prove its case before a jury. The defendants remained entitled to a fair trial. At the time of recording, the evidence has not been tested before a jury. Case File 6. How the system works. One of the biggest misconceptions surrounding criminal cases is that once someone appears in court, the trial has already begun. In reality, that's rarely the case. Before a jury even hears the evidence, there are often months of legal preparation. Evidence is disclosed, witnesses are identified, legal arguments take place. The court decides what evidence can be presented. Administrative hearings may be held, and in some circumstances, further applications, including those relating to bail, can also be made before trial. While the justice system carefully works through that process, social media often reaches its own conclusion within hours. Case File 7. The courts feed the courts of public opinion. This is where two very different worlds collide. The justice system asks one question: can these allegations be proved beyond reasonable doubt? The internet often asks, what do I think happened? Sometimes, those answers eventually match, and sometimes they don't. History has shown cases where public concern proved justified. History has also shown cases where public opinion got it wrong. That's why timelines matter, facts matter, context matters, because once the internet decides who somebody is, changing that opinion can be almost impossible. Case File 8. Where things stand today. As things stand today, this case is now moving towards trial. Many questions remain unanswered. The court will ultimately decide what evidence is admissible. The prosecution will present its case, the defense will present theirs, and only then will a jury be asked to reach a verdict. And until that happens, there will almost certainly be more headlines, more clips, more opinions, and more speculations. But this episode wasn't about deciding the outcome, and it wasn't about taking sides. It was about understanding the journey that brought us here. Real Talk Uncovered will continue following this case as verified developments emerge. Until then, don't just follow the headlines, follow the timeline.